There is what your ex said to you, and there is what they actually meant. And it could be anything from, it's not me, it's you, or the classic, I just need to really work on myself right now and I need to be with me. Now, some people actually say what they mean, but most people bullshit out of their arsehole. And that's what today's video is going to be about. Welcome back to The Love Fix. It's Nick, as always, doing my best to get you through your breakups as easily and as healthily as possible. If you want to work with me on your personal heartbreak situation, you can go to the About tab on the channel, hit the coaching link and book in your session. Alternatively, you can email me at thelovefix20@gmail.com. Also, there is the Facebook group. Go to the About tab again and tap the link and come and join the group. But guys, you must answer the membership questions, otherwise you will be declined. With all that said, let's get straight into it. This comes up almost every day where one of my clients would say, or one of the Facebook members would say, what does it mean when my ex said this? What does it mean when they say, I love you, but I'm not in love with you? What does it mean when they say, I've lost attraction for you, or I'm not feeling it anymore? And these sometimes can be difficult questions to ask, but a lot of the time there is what they say and there's what they actually mean. So a classic would be, oh, I just really need to work on myself right now. Now, in my experience, now guys, I don't have any scientific data to back this up. This is purely observation and anecdotal and what I've seen with my clients. And it has been my observation when someone has said, and this has certainly happened to me, oh, I just need to really work on myself right now. That's often meant that there is someone else. And I know that's hard to hear. And by no means do I want you to go and find out this information. If someone has said this to you, don't go and find out that information. And I'm not saying this is 100% true in all cases, but it's been true in about 80% of cases that I've dealt with. And this is with personal friends. This has happened to me personally. And rather than them actually saying, hey, I've lost attraction for you and I've allowed myself to rebound, I've allowed myself to monkey branch, I've allowed myself to cheat, because they don't want to be the bad guy. They don't want to look in on themselves and think, oh shit, I've actually done a bad thing here. I did the wrong thing. So they will give you some kind of bullshit. I just need to really work on myself right now. Well, we've been together 10 years. You've been working on yourself for 10 years, or you haven't been working on yourself for 10 years. So why all of a sudden has that changed? And the reality is, what has changed is how they feel about the romantic relationship with you. So rather than them actually dealing with it in the right way, coming to talk to you, or maybe they tried to solve it and you weren't listening, you wasn't receptive. But a lot of the time people don't communicate correctly, and if they're not getting their needs met, rather than communicating, they try to find the easiest solution. They'll go and find someone else, which is not the right thing to do. And then we have the classic, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Allow me to translate. There is a big difference between falling in love and being in love, to quote Logan Ury from her book, How to Not Die Alone. Really good book, and I highly recommend you guys check it out. So when someone says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, what that really means is that the limerence, the honeymoon, and the Disney feels have worn off, and that typically happens between 1 to 4 years. Guys, this happens in every relationship. There are no exceptions here. It's biology. There are no exceptions. But after that honeymoon and limerence period is worn off, what we should be left with is a sense of investment. I will invest in you because you're investing in me. Loyalty, family, togetherness, building together, respect. That's what true, tangible love looks like. It's not the Disney in love bullshit that you get for the first 1 to 4 years. That shit will always vanish. So you have to build a relationship based on respect, not the feels. You have to base it on investment, not the feels. You have to base it on loyalty, not the feels. That's what you have to base it upon, because if you don't, once that Disney feeling wears off, and it will wear off, you're going to hear shit like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Or, we don't have the spark anymore. Whatever the fuck that means. It's all bullshit. So, what that really means is like, hey, look, I was really high on dopamine when we first got together, and that's kind of normalized now. And the dopamine rush with you isn't as good, and I want my dopamine hit. So I'm going to go and get that with someone else. And here's the thing, guys. You can only fall in love with that person one time. So you're always going to be chasing the dragon, because that high will never be the same again. So that's what they really mean, is that, oh, look, this just doesn't feel as good as I remember 4 years ago. And I want that feeling. I want the spark. I want my dopamine hit, but my brain has normalized it, and then now I have to go and get it elsewhere. So you have to be very aware of these type of things. Now, another example could be, I'm not attracted to you anymore. Now, this means different things for men and women. For men, it's largely physical. Okay, now, ladies, you might be getting triggered by this, but you have to understand, men are visual creatures. This is our biology. I make no apologies for this. I'm not saying it should all be visual. No, we should be looking at personality. We should be looking at what that woman's bringing to the table. But the first thing that will get a man to talk to you is how you look. And that doesn't go away. So it is important to maintain, health. I'm not saying your looks change, your body's going to change and stuff like that, but try to, maintain health. And this is the same for men and women. Men have to keep themselves in good shape as well, and in good nick as well. I'm not like trying to swing it to one way or the other. No, I generally believe that we all owe it to ourselves to look after ourselves. So when a man is saying, I'm no longer attracted to you anymore, it's largely physical. However, when a woman says, I'm no longer attracted to you anymore, it's largely emotional. So it's the opposite way around. And I think men struggle with this quite a lot, because when a woman would say, I'm not feeling it anymore, I don't find you attractive anymore. For a woman, that's emotional connection. It's because she no longer feels safe. She no longer feels heard. She no longer feels validated. That's the difference between the two. So we have to be very aware about what it means from the different sexes. Okay? So when a woman is saying that, I'm no longer attracted to you, it could be that she's lost emotional, or actually most of the time it will be because she's lost emotional attraction. And unfortunately, sometimes it could mean also that she's allowed herself to become emotionally attracted to someone else. Now, again, guys, men, this works both ways. If you allow yourself to become physically into another woman attracted, and women, if you allow yourself to become emotionally attracted to another man, and this goes for same-sex couples as well. Slightly different, obviously, but kind of the principle is the same. If you put yourself in that situation, if you allow yourself to be in that situation, then that is on you. You are disrespecting that relationship. Now, me personally, yes, am I going to see other women on the street and think, wow, she's beautiful? Yes. Will there be women I come across in my life that I'm working with that, oh yeah, she's pretty cool? Yes. And that will happen with men, women, and anybody. There's always going to be people in your life that you're going to have some kind of connection with, or you're going to have some kind of, we get on really well. But then you have to make the self-parenting choice to not allow yourself to be in a situation where that can develop further. Because cheating doesn't just happen. Rebounding doesn't just happen. Monkey branching doesn't just happen. People allow it to happen. People put themselves in a situation of where it's easier to move on to something new rather than to work on what you already have. And that is the problem. And this underpins the confusion of, I don't understand my ex. I don't know why they dumped me. I don't know what they mean. There you go. A lot of the time, you don't understand what they mean because they're talking utter shit and they're not speaking truth. That's why it's so hard to understand them. But here is my tip of the day. Do not waste your time trying to understand your ex or anyone else for that matter. It is an exercise in futility and it's a waste of fucking time. Spend this time to understand you. Spend this time to figure you out. Spend this time asking yourself, why do I keep attracting these dickheads? Guys, I've got news for you. That's because you yourself are a dickhead. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a compassionate, brutal way, yes, but in a way that I'm trying to highlight to you that if you keep attracting the wrong type of people, what does that say about you? If this keeps happening to you, what does that say about you? If you don't understand your ex, that's because you are not required to understand them. You're only required to understand you. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. Do not try to love the red flags out of them. Do not try to, make excuses for them. They had a really hard childhood. Yep, so did everybody fucking else. Yeah, most of us had a difficult childhood. Nobody got out of childhood unscathed. We all need to look at that and see where we need to heal some wounds. Don't make excuses for them. So, what your ex says and what they mean can mean two totally different things, but I think the best way to analyze that, do their actions align with their words. So if they say, I just really need to work on myself, and they're literally with someone new within a week or two, then that was bullshit, wasn't it? And understand, when someone says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, that is a bullshit statement. That means they want more dopamine from a new source because it feels good, and they're not prepared to walk with the grass that they're already standing on, because the grass is greener where you water it, and the longer a relationship goes on, the more maintenance it will require. So guys, unfuck yourselves. Don't worry about what they're saying. Don't try to understand them. It's a waste of your time. You need to be focused on you. You need to be focused on your healing, your mental health, and working your way towards better people in your life. And I promise you, things will get better for you. You are enough. You will be okay. Set your standards, set your boundaries, especially with your ex-partners, and tell them, hey, I only want to talk to you if you want to reconcile. But if they've cheated, rebounded, monkey branched, I wouldn't even entertain it, because they'll do it again, most likely. I'm not saying people can't change, they can, but when people are showing you who they really are, believe them. That's all I've got for today. I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please hit like and subscribe. It would really help the channel out. And if you need my help with your one-to-one situation, your personal breakup situation, and you want to work with me one-to-one so I can bespoke the advice to you, go to the About tab and hit the coaching link and book it in. As always, I'll see you on the other side.